Hey everybody, this is the Eternal Skull, and welcome to the next episode of Let's Play Overview, an area where we just kind of tear apart YouTube and see what the internets look like. So I have another guest with me, like Mr. Waterway from last week. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello everyone, I am Argon Matrix.
Nice to see you here. Thank you
Good to
for
be here.
coming on with us.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. I saw the first episode and it was really an interesting concept you had, so let's roll with it.
All right. So today's episode is a little bit different than what we had last week. This is pretty much how Something Awful, where YouTube originated from, and YouTube, or not YouTube, where Let's Play originated from, and YouTube kind of work a little bit differently. And you said you have the rules for Let's Play up at Say, don't you?
Yes I do. There's like a whole Let's Play rules thread that was apparently updated just this July with something new, but...
Oh, that's not bad. Because I know that the reason I chose this topic was pretty much because, I mean, I know SA has certain rules that they have for Let's Play where YouTube is kind of like a free-for-all, so I figured we can compare and contrast and give the ideas about it, so. So, what's the first rule that they have?
Well, these first two rules are sort of just like, whatever, there's no real talking about them. The first one is, don't post a thread in here that isn't a Let's Play or a discussion that's directly related to Let's Play.
Right, that makes sense.
That's pretty much a given.
Yeah, that's a forum rule kind of thing.
Yeah, and then number two is Let's Play is subject to all games forum and general SA forum rules. So unless you want to go through every single one of those, which I know there's quite a few.
Could you just give us a brief overview of the SA rules, just so we know?
Basically just nothing really like offensive. Don't be an idiot. Basically, is what they want. Like, I think they emphasize quite a bit. Like nothing like abusive. That's like not safe for work. Basically.
So kind of keep things at an intelligent level.
Yeah, basically.
Alright, so that makes sense.
Alright. The third one is where it starts to get a little more iffy, is don't LP newer games. 3 months after the game's initial release, it's fine to LP them.
Right, because they have the what they call the 3-month rule, which is actually a topic that I'm going to be bringing up
That's a
later.
topic all of its own, but...
Yeah, I'm going to be bringing that up with another person later, so we'll see how that goes. But,
so
what else do they have?
Do you want to just skip over that one? Okay.
Yeah, let's skip over that.
Alright. So the fourth rule is, no hentai, none.
Right, and
so
that's
I think that's one we can all pretty much agree on right here.
Yeah, that's a not safe for work topic, so that's kind of following along the don't be an idiot and don't post anything like that guidelines, which makes sense. I'm not sure how you would even record a hentai game, but let's not get into that.
Well, if you want to know how I do it now.
Oh.
Okay, the fifth one is no white knighting. And,
Can you explain what white knighting is?
Well, there's actually a little brief paragraph here, so it'll do it for me.
Oh.
We encourage constructive criticism in Let's Play. Accordingly, if someone criticizes a Let's Play, wait until the OP responds before making your own comment. Your own comment shouldn't be a valiant defense on the OP's behalf either. It's one thing if you honestly disagree with the poster's opinion, but don't feel like your enjoyment of a Let's Play means it needs to be treated as perfect and guarded against anyone who would dare sully it with a suggestion for improvement.
So it's pretty much sounds like don't feed the trolls and don't backseat mod is what it's kind of getting down to.
Sort of. I think it's more like you see a Let's Play in such a high regard that you're so biased that if someone points out even like the slightest flaw, the slightest objective flaw, then you're just gonna like kill them. That's basically what white knighting is, and you do see that a lot more on YouTube than you will on Something Awful.
Yeah, you see the kids trying to defend themselves and, you know, all of their glorious works, so...
Exactly, like you talked about, you mentioned Retsuprey before, because that's like pretty much the link between Something Awful and YouTube nowadays.
Right.
And of course their most recent thing with PewDiePie, we're not going to go into that in depth,
yeah,
because there's a lot there. But,
oh yeah.
But that's a pretty prime example, because you can just see all of PewDiePie's fans effectively white knighting him, even though there's not much to defend there.
I remember back, going off topic for just a second here, I remember back, I watched people, they did like, they've done H.C. Bailey, they've done SSOPHKC, or however it's spelled, they've done, they did Sir Ron Lionheart, and people just went crazy over that, but half those people wanted it, so it's fans are odd, but that's not the point we're trying to make here.
Yeah, fans are odd, they don't know what they want half the time, apparently.
Oh yeah.
It's very interesting. Anyways, so the next rule that they have listed here is don't show off shit in the game ahead of the LP unless the author says it's okay. Basically a no spoiler sort of rule.
Yeah, so it's just like when YouTube you say, you know, don't spoil in the comments what's going to happen, so...
Yeah, I think there's a sort of different distinction about that between Something Awful and YouTube, though, because on Something Awful, most of the games you see, you've never heard of. Like these games, I look at like the front page of the Let's Play forum, and like I could see maybe 2 out of 20 games that I've actually heard of before.
Yeah,
The
I've
rest are
heard
totally
rumors
obscure.
about that.
But on YouTube, you see like the same games over and over and over again. So spoilers start to become sort of a moot point with that, because
Yeah,
everyone's already seen them.
I think Red Spray touched upon that too, where they played a game, or somebody was playing a game on one of the forums where they never seen before, and Slow Beef was like, "Well, all you see now on YouTube are like Mario ROM hacks and everything." So it's like I guess it'll be kind of like that.
Mhm. Yeah, that's true. All right. The next rule here is don't shill for donations, even for charity.
And what is shilling?
Basically, it's just like asking for donations. Like even if you need it or want to do it for charity or something, you should not do it just because it's not the place for that. Essentially.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but even so, you still see that sometimes on YouTube, like people having donation streams or whatever, and that's starts to sort of blur the line. It's hard to really make a call on that.
Yeah, that'd be another topic to discuss. But yeah, that makes sense that they don't want that kind of stuff because, I mean, I can kind of see their point at the same time, but I'm not a part of Something Awful, so I don't know how really they work around that. So.
Mm-hmm. And this is the last official rule, and then there's like a bunch of guidelines here that we can probably go through quickly too.
Sure.
Is don't recycle Let's Plays you've already done elsewhere unless they're really, really good. This is completely subjective and up to the mods, so you're better off not doing it.
Yeah, and I think my buddy who started on Something Awful a couple months ago mentioned that. Isn't it like if you've got like a full Let's Play on YouTube, you don't want to throw it on SA because you're gonna get banned, obviously.
You might not get banned necessarily, but like that's what they call a YouTube dump around here. And actually you might end up getting like timed out or banned or whatever eventually. But before that happens, because there's obviously a delay in that happening, just the response from the SA audience, they're gonna tear the living shit out of you for that.
So it's pretty much you're pretty much holding up a big sign that's saying "Come troll me."
Exactly. You're just holding it up, and they are relentless. They don't care about your feelings. They don't care about how hard you worked on it or anything. They're just like, it's a YouTube dump. This guy has no idea what he's doing. He doesn't know how this place works.
Yeah, you're gonna get slaughtered.
Kill him. Yeah, exactly.
Hey, that's not always a bad thing.
That's true. Okay. So we can go through the guidelines because they're essentially rules, and just look down. You'll get looked down upon if you don't follow these guidelines here.
Yes, and then help keep the order.
All right. So the first guideline is make sure your posts have sufficient content. So basically, like anything, like they have a few examples here, just like I saw X more posts and I thought there was an update, but there wasn't. Yay, a new update, or oh, a new page, or something. Just like completely
so it's kind of like
content.
So comparing it is kind of like the YouTube first craze that
exactly.
people have.
Yeah, that's pretty much the same thing. And
I wish they had that.
Yeah, I guess there's a pretty good parallel there, just because even on YouTube, people who do that, they get looked down upon because I don't know.
Yeah, everyone kind of self mods the video, but even still, I wish YouTube had that kind of ability where you could just kind of weed out or block those words or whatever. So, but either way.
The next few sort of blend together. It's report bad posts and please don't be creepy. So it's basically just like sort of just a moderation system.
Right,
That's basically all it is. Let's see, what else is there? When posting an LP, use appropriate thread titles. So basically don't use misleading information to get people to watch your stuff.
Yeah, so don't say like like they did on YouTube for a while, like not really a text example, but when they had like the boobs in the thumbnail, when people all had custom thumbnails, stuff like that.
Yeah, people still do that, I'm afraid.
Oh yeah, I've seen it everywhere, but it's I'm assuming that kind of goes in hand. I'm assuming they might have a rule there for like no all caps titles or whatnot, or something along those lines. I'm assuming that goes.
I don't think it takes. They don't really. There's nothing that really says here about all caps, but it shows a certain level of maturity if you use all caps that you don't really want to show.
Yeah, it's one of those unlisted rule kind of things.
Yeah, sort of. Just like everyone agrees on it.
Right, makes sense.
All right, the next one here. This is actually a pretty big one because this is a pretty huge difference between Something Awful and YouTube. Is if you're going to start a Let's Play, it's not a bad idea to make a test post in the Let's Play Sandcastle.
Yeah, I've seen that place before because I've looked at Something Awful, but I can't go too deep into it because I don't have an account. So
right. Well, effectively, the Let's Play Sandcastle is you go there and you post like a test update or whatever. That's
Hmm.
generally what you do. And people will give you feedback on it and let you know what you can do to improve it before you actually officially start the Let's Play.
So it's kind of like treading the waters almost.
Exactly, yeah. So you can like post there, and if you get a super negative response, they might not want to go through with it all or fix a lot of stuff to get it as good
Right,
as
right.
possible. But like, and there really is no equivalent to that on YouTube. Like if you
Would,
start something on YouTube and you either have to go through with it or you'll quit it and it'll just sort of look unprofessional at that point because
right.
it's just sort of there.
I mean, I'm guilty of that myself. I did do an LP back when I was first starting that I just kind of stopped, and it's still there, but I use that as a reminder. But I know what you mean. There's really no quality control on YouTube, which causes a big problem I've noticed with a lot of people.
Yeah, that's ultimately the biggest difference between something awful and YouTube is that there is a huge amount of quality control that goes into SA.
I do have. I'm assuming. I guess this wouldn't really be a rule, but I'm assuming that if you put a camcorder LP on in the sandcastle, you're just asking for like a gunshot to the head.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because I can imagine that
Oh
they don't
God.
take too kindly to those there.
Not
They don't
really.
even, they don't even take them very kindly to YouTube anymore, or what? But even still.
Okay, the next guideline here. Don't tell people you are an accomplished LPer from YouTube or another LP forum. No one cares and it makes you look weird.
Oh Lord, I can only imagine what that would spawn.
Exactly, yeah, that's why I refrain from even mentioning like my name or like anything about my YouTube stuff on here on
Yeah,
it's
yeah, you're just
'cause-
asking for trouble.
exactly.
That is a pretty good idea, though. And in all reality, you can't have like an egotist going down there and going, "Hey, I'm from YouTube, and I'm better than all of you," because they're just gonna get slammed.
All right, this next this next guideline is do not take Let's Play very seriously. It won't make you rich or famous or popular to members of your preferred sexual orientation or gender. Your reputation here, good or bad, does not translate to the real world. You should be here because you have a funny, silly, or just plain good idea, and you want to try out, or even just because you want to show people a cool game they missed.
I have a feeling that Slowbeef wrote that.
Yeah, Slowbeef wrote this whole thread, all these rules and guidelines.
Okay, yeah, because that last one kind of reflects it, because obviously with the PewDiePie scandal, it really does reflect how he talks. So.
Exactly, yeah, and like again with the PewDiePie scandal, you can like just see the ways people like the massive amounts of heated debates that people get into over these things.
Oh yeah.
And ultimately it boils down to who cares? It's the internet. Just don't take it seriously.
Yeah, I mean, the guy gets paid for it, but it's not gonna, 10, 20 years down the line, it's not gonna be, everything for him. So.
Yeah,
You
definitely.
can't. My philosophy is don't take the internet too seriously. No one gets out alive anyway.
There you go. And the last guideline here that they have is do not make a Pokemon LP.
That is the one rule that would make YouTube pretty scarce, I think.
Yeah, because you see a lot of that on YouTube, definitely, and I'm friends with quite a few people who've done or are doing Pokemon Let's Plays.
Right.
And it's just, I don't know. I suppose like they have like a little blurb here, but it says a moratorium is in effect. Don't even post test posts in the sandcastle. Just don't. We're tired of seeing how low effort, low talent. We're tired of seeing low effort, low talent attempts. If you think you have a great idea and you can prove it, then send Slowbeef or Zorak an email about it first. Zorak is another one of the mods of the.
Yeah.
This does not count for Pokemon-like games like Digimon or Monster Rancher.
Makes sense. Now I think we can go into that one a little bit more. You said you're friends with a lot of people who have done the Pokemon Let's Plays, and I've seen quite a few of them. I don't generally think that they're a bad idea. I think it's, as Slowbeef has written in that, it's all about how they're done.
That's true, yeah. It's just like Pokemon is such an easy game to just like sort of go through, and people can watch it and
Yeah.
just get sort of wrapped up in it. But it really doesn't take much effort at all to do it.
Yeah, I mean, you have people like Chugga Conroy who did, his really in-depth, Fire Red and his Emerald ones, where there were like graphics and everything, all of that. That's a symbol of hard work. And then you have people like Lugajin who just kind of, for lack of a better term, fuck around in it.
Yeah, essentially. But even all the same, I think it's just too samey for the taste of something awful. They just don't like
definitely.
seeing the same thing twice effectively. So even they would lump in Chugga Conroy and Luca Jin's Pokemon Let's Plays into the same pile and just say, this is Pokemon, we've seen it before, get
Yeah.
out. It's not original.
I mean, I can see where they're coming from with that, because it does get old. I actually have another topic that I want to discuss with somebody later about overdone Let's Plays, which kind of ties into that. But I can see where something awful would be like, we've seen this 1,000 times before. It'd be like doing a Mario ROM hack. They all boil down to being the same thing.
Right. Yeah.
Which is why Pokemon John gets slammed so much. Anyway, but yeah, I can see why they have that kind of rule in effect.
Right. Yeah. So that's the end of the thread here. So.
I mean, based on what you've said, I mean, YouTube and SA do have very different kind of. I don't even want to say YouTube has rules, but different like priorities in check almost. Mm-hmm. Where something awful really has that kind of quality control, where YouTube is, you can just slap something up and there it is.
Yeah, essentially. Effectively, that's like one of the two, because I've experienced both Something Awful and YouTube for quite a while now. I've experienced YouTube for a lot longer, but I've gotten the hang of Something Awful over the past like few months, year, however long it's been. And in my mind, there are really like two key differences. The first one is the one that you just mentioned, is that on YouTube there really is no quality control at all. It's like if you make something good that is quality, then people are more likely to pick up on it, obviously. And like if you make something that's just shit, then you're less likely to get like rewarded for that. But ultimately, there is no quality control.
And, I mean, the closest thing that we have to quality control is Red Super A, and even then, they've even stated they're not trying to make it better because you just can't.
Yeah, there's really no changing it. And even on like the actual quality Let's Plays that you see on YouTube, you can go down to the comment section, and it's just it's illegible half the time. It's like, what are you doing?
I've noticed that there's a very bad trend in YouTube where they all break down into either fandoms, religion, or something along those guidelines, where it's just stupid work. And even then, half the writing is illegible, like you said. People just don't know how to type.
Yep. Yeah, it all boils down to like emoticons, religion, and ponies nowadays.
Yeah, it's not a fun thing to watch, and it's no matter what you see. Like, you can go to a video that isn't even related to LPs or something in general, and it's gonna be there somewhere.
Exactly, yeah. It's just ridiculous. Like, and compare that to the posts you see in the threads on Something Awful. Pretty much all of them they're like full, correct, complete English sentences.
Yeah, and
they actually have content that like you would want to read.
And they're usually paragraph based, aren't they? Most of them aren't even like just one or two sentences. They're usually pretty long.
Yeah, exactly. There's like no character limit like there is in the YouTube comments.
Yeah, which is probably part of the problem, is why everyone looks like an idiot.
Mm-hmm. And like, just like in YouTube comments, there are of course like arguments and stuff between posters on Something Awful, but the difference is that on Something Awful they actually have like critical arguments where each side it's effectively a debate, and they each have like valid points, and it's just a matter of which is objectively better. But on YouTube, you don't see that. It's just people throwing their own opinions into it and just neglecting all criticism.
They default back to the "I fucked your mother" argument.
Exactly.
And that was the end of it, which I think is totally asinine.
Fucking stupid.
I have yet to see that on my channel, but I'm kind of glad that I haven't yet. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. So that's the first key difference, and the second one in my mind is that I've heard Diabetes talk about this quite a bit, is that on YouTube, you see the same games repeated so much, and I'm no better at this. I do a lot of, like, the games I've done have been done plethoras of times by other people, so it's really no different there. But and like I said before, on Something Awful, the games are all pretty unique, like you've never seen them before, and that boils down to the fact that on YouTube, Let's Play is more about the commentator, the personality, than it is about the game. Whereas on Something Awful is completely reverse.
Yeah, like I've seen my buddy who's a part of Something Awful with me to Slow Beef's his Dead to Rights LP, and I'm watching it and I'm going, there's something different about how he does it compared to how we do.
It's noticeable, definitely.
Yeah, because they mostly focus on the game and not just shooting the shit. I mean, I'm not trying to bash him, but you have people like Nintendo Capri Sun who do like they kind of vlog with it.
Yeah,
where you have the other guys who talk about the game, which it's not that it's a bad thing that they're vlogging, but there's a very noticeable difference to what you see.
Right, yeah, and I'm guilty of vlogging myself. That's just sort of my style.
Oh, we all are. But everyone is. I mean, that's not something that you can really control. And I don't think that makes a bad Let's Play. It's just, it's the style.
Mm-hmm. But that's something that sort of, like, irked me now about YouTube, is that even if you wanted to do something for the game, you can't anymore. It's like, people will not like it. They'll be like, "Where's your fucking jokes or vlogs or whatever?" Just
Yeah, it's got to be all stupid jokes or talking about your life.
yeah.
Again, going back to like the PewDiePie thing, or even Chuck and Conroy. I remember way back when I started watching YouTube more often. I watched his Earthbound LP, and he talked a lot about the game. And now it's mostly like overview stuff. Which again, not trying to bash anybody. It's just how things advanced.
Yeah, it's just advances into things like memes eventually. So, and it's just,
Yeah, that's the problem.
yeah, it's ridiculous. I had a point and I was gonna bring it up. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, it was like how I said again for the third time now is that on Something Awful, all these games you've like never heard of.
Yeah.
And if you post videos on YouTube of games that people have never heard of, they're not gonna watch it.
Yeah, I have an example of that. I did the game Tomba 2: The Evil Swine Return, which is an extremely rare game. It's a very big cult classic. Nobody knows what it is. People who have watched it are like, they send me a message, they leave a comment going, "What is this game? I've never seen it before." And that's the response you get. Like, you can't do anything unique anymore, which is the problem.
Exactly. Yeah. Like you would understand what it is if you watched it, but
Exactly.
but you won't watch it because it doesn't cater to your Mario or Zelda or COD or whatever you're into.
My friend gave me an example at work the other day, saying that most people have, I think it's a 1 minute or 2 minute attention span, where you've got that amount of time to capture them, and then they'll watch the rest of the video, and you want to keep it, he said under 10 minutes, but I disagree because of what we do. But I think that was his main point, that you've got about 30 seconds to a minute to capture a person's attention, and then after the 5-minute mark, it starts to dwindle regardless. So it's kind of hard to keep people's attention for a new game.
Yeah, it is definitely noticeable that YouTube whittles down the attention span of most of the viewers.
Yeah, well, if you see all the stupid stuff that you have to weed through, I can see why.
But then you go contrast that again with the whole discussion that we're having here is with Something Awful. You can see like test posts in the Sandcastle from like 30 minutes to an hour long, and people are like watching all that and giving genuine critical analysis of it.
Right.
You would not get that on YouTube. Like you get like if you post like a 30-minute long video on there for something no one's ever heard of, there's like, this sucks, dislike, leave. That's
it causes a problem. I mean, from my style, this is gonna sound bad. I kind of follow how KA6 Scope does things, and I do games that are kind of like hidden gems. And I get a lot of comments saying that either they love the game or they hate it. There's no in between anymore.
Yeah, there is that sort of road too, like where you can do games that maybe not a lot of people, or they're like not the most popular games, but they're things that people might remember from their childhood.
Right.
And that's sort of the road that Scope takes, and that's definitely a pretty unique approach to it, like his Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories stuff.
Yeah, and
that's like one of his
that
most popular apparently. So.
Yeah, and it's a good Let's Play. It's just because it's different. I mean,
it is. Yeah.
He's done Pokemon, but you go and you look through his other stuff. He's done a lot of other work, and it's good. And a lot of people either they don't want to do that or they're afraid to. And I think treading the waters can be a very good thing.
It is. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Like Scope is a pretty good example of someone who could survive in both YouTube and Something Awful.
Definitely.
Like there's quite a few people who could not survive in both environments.
Right. I mean, going off of I'm not trying to bash anyone here, so don't go running any of these guys. But people like Josh Jepson, Luca Jin, Attacking Toucans, they probably wouldn't be able to survive in both environments just because they've either become accustomed to how YouTube works, or because of just their style as to begin with.
Yeah, definitely. It's sort of like a one-way street. Like it's like giving Proton John as an example. It's incredibly easy to make the transition from Something Awful to YouTube and become a success because Something Awful has such higher standards that it'll impress the YouTube audience because
you're kind of trained beforehand.
Yeah, but if you're taking it's a lot harder to make the transition from YouTube to Something Awful because you have to work and understand all these different standards.
Yeah, you've got rules that you have to follow now. People can't just go and go, I can't just post whatever I want here. That's not right. And they're just gonna look at him and go, get out.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I've gone through essay quite a bit, and I've looked through their topics, and I've read them, and I'm like, wow, I wish that people like you on YouTube reacted like this.
Yeah, it's definitely it's basically a more adult version of YouTube, just and not not adult as in explicit. It's like adult as in mature.
Yeah, it's like looking at night and day. So
effectively, yeah.
just seeing how, and that's why I wanted somebody to talk to about this, because I don't want to start going off on something awful because I don't know anything about it, and that's ignorance, and I don't like that. So
Yeah. Yeah, if for anyone who's listening who like might want to go like try out something awful, first off, know that there is a $10 subscription fee. It's not like a monthly fee or anything. You pay $10 and you're there for forever unless you get banned.
yeah, and then you have to pay $10 more for what I remember.
Yeah, and you also have to like pay. You can like pay extra like $5 or whatever for certain upgrades. You have to actually pay $5 for like an avatar or profile picture or whatever.
Yeah, I've heard Slow Beef on his on the podcast talk about stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah, but beyond that, if you truly seriously want to make the transition to something awful, don't just go there, sign up for stay and like start posting stuff. Do what they call lurking, and just read through like a couple threads and everything. Like to be honest, I still have not posted a single thing on something awful. I've just been reading and just trying to grasp and adapt and make sure that when I actually do start posting something, which I will eventually, then I'm coherent and they can understand me, and I'm sort of operating on their level.
Yeah, you don't want to be a little kitten thrown to the lions before you know how to adapt to it.
Exactly.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, just for people who don't want to spend the $10 right away, can't you go on something awful for free and look up threads? I think it's up to 6 months back.
I believe so. I think there's certain restrictions on that though, like some threads you just can't see for some reason.
Yeah.
Or there's a limit on how much you can read. I don't know what that is. If you want to see some stuff that was from something awful, it's like not currently ongoing though, you can go to lparchive.org, and
I've been there.
They have a whole like list of things that have been done on something awful and then archived, and they're not actually like hosted on something awful. They're hosted on other video websites like YouTube or Blip or whatever. And
yeah, if I remember when this video goes up, I'll put it in the description for you guys if you want to go check it out.
Yeah. So there's that.
So I mean, as a whole, there definitely is a huge difference between us and them. I don't like to use that phrase, but there is a wall that a lot of people have to climb over if you want to get, adapted to both sides.
There is, and there's really no changing on either side. Like if you want to, like there's no way you're gonna get YouTube to be as strict or quality controlled as something awful, and there's no way you're gonna get something awful to allow YouTube quality stuff.
Right. I mean, I can see why with YouTube there's too many people. It's so hard to control. And I was discussing this with the LPR help groups, is that there's no moderation in anything.
Exactly.
Which causes a huge problem. Whereas SA, you're paying to be there, so why fuck around?
Yeah, exactly. That's why they do like that's pretty much why they have the like $10 entry fees, just to maintain that sort of quality control more easily.
No, definitely. And not to say that I wish YouTube would start charging, but I wish there would be something. Not the bots that hit you for copyright, because that's bullshit. Just something that would help keep quality in check. I mean, personally, from my standpoint, I can't stand camcorder LPs. I can't stand, everything like that, which I'll rant about later. But there's, like you said, there's no quality control, so it's really hard for people who are good at this kind of stuff. I don't want to throw myself out there, but people like me and the Water Wraith who make good content just get lost in a sea of bad.
Yeah, that's true. I agree that like it really sucks that there is no quality control on YouTube, but at the same time, YouTube is so big now that I don't see any way they really could implement it.
Yeah, that's true too. That's the other problem.
So really, the only solution is self-quality control, and that's the best you can hope for. Is that you'll be found out, that people will find you and realize that your quality is actually intelligible and good. And,
yeah, I mean,
and they'll be able to separate that from the garbled nonsense that you find elsewhere on YouTube.
It's pretty much you have to keep a good quality to yourself and kind of ignore the bullshit, because, I mean, there are trolls everywhere. There are going to be people who tell you suck regardless. You got to have a thick hide about this, or it's just not going to go well for you.
Exactly.
I'm sure you've had that problem quite a few times.
Yeah. I haven't actually had too many trolls or anything around my videos, amazingly. But.
Oh, well, that's a good thing. But even still, like, as a whole, there are just trolls that no matter what you do, you're going to get bashed.
Definitely.
No matter if you do videos like Let's Plays, you do fashion, you're going to get slammed anyway once your name starts getting out there. And I think even SA does that with some people. They just kind of bash them because, I don't know. I mean, Slow Beef and Diabetes, I can see them getting kind of hazed a little bit, but that's just me.
I don't know. Slowly, Findibies is it's been so long at this point that they're more idolized than anything, and just new people might try to haze them, but then other people will just be like,
it's like YouTube all over again.
Exactly.
Like people going to the Red Super channel going, "Why don't you guys try Let's Play?" And then like they get slammed by everyone going, "Do you know who these people are?"
Exactly. Yeah. It's like the thing that you see like not even just on Let's Play, but just on YouTube in general. It's like people commenting like, "Why are there 2,000 likes and 300 views?" And then people are just like, "You must be new here."
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's how the world works, though. It's unfortunate, but maybe one day things will change and it'll get a little bit better. Maybe people will start getting more intelligent.
Yeah, but bottom line, Something Awful is objectively more intelligent than YouTube.
Yeah, it's objectively more intelligent, but you have to have pretty much a thick hide to go to both places. But I think you need a thicker hide to survive Something Awful.
Definitely.
Because most people can't take criticism, which is the other problem.
Yeah, and Something Awful is criticism. So.
Yeah, constructive criticism, but criticism nonetheless.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, well, we've hit this up for about 30 minutes. I think we've hit the nail on the head here, so...
Yeah, definitely.
Is there anything else you'd like to say before we end this off?
Don't RP the LP.
That too. I'll be going over that with another topic, because I have seen that happen. But anyway, as a whole. Thank you for joining me. It was great talking to you.
Nice. Thanks for having me. It was good.
Yeah, your links and everything will be down here if anyone else wants to check it out. For anyone who is listening to this, if you have any topics that you want to hear about or you want to be a part of this, leave a comment on this page. I had the Water Wraith give me crap about this. Leave it on this video. Don't go to Argon and just start spamming him, because I don't think he'll like me very much after that.
I can handle it, but I'd prefer not to handle it. So
definitely, yeah. I just prefer to handle the stuff myself without the problems. But if you want to have Argon back for any other topics, or you want to see somebody else, let me know. We'll try to work on getting them. But again, Argon, thank you for joining me here today.
Thanks for having me.
And go check out his channel. He does some good stuff. And I'll see you guys next time.